All right, cool. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to exciting Finance Committee meeting on March 13th. We'll call meeting to order. And Becky, would you do the roll, please?
Sure will. Jim Sheenline,
Here.
Jim Bivens,
Here.
Tom Kitson,
Present.
Mike Book, Nancy Naylor. Present. Jennifer Dallas.
All right. We do have a quorum, so won't have to pull anybody in from the gallery. Go around the room and Jeremy, what do you got? Anything for us?
Only when we get to the agenda.
Okay, very good. Charles? All right. Paul and Reed?
I do have something for the committee and the team. Just letting everybody know, in my office, we have a person that'll be out on medical leave. She's gonna be having a baby here shortly. So she'll be out for 3 months or better. And then with Reed maybe moving on to different, he's still here, don't worry. We have our property tax coming. I have in my budget money for a permanent part-time person. So I have enlisted Jeremy to put a job description out on our website, and I'm going to be hiring a part-time person, somewhere in the range of 25 to 32 hours a week to help us out. It'll help us through the transitions. It'll help us with vacations and sick people, people out sick. So just letting you guys know that's going to be happening. So we'll have a new face around here.
Very good. And just to be clear, what Paul's referring to is Reed is going to be moving, I think, upstairs is the plan, and with the new HR person. And so if he's doing stuff and you're swamped down there, that's why you need the extra person downstairs.
It would just help
So-
us. And this is probably the best way to do it. Just in terms of coverage and if there's nothing for them to do, then we will send them home.
Yep,
Okay,
sounds good.
that's all I had outside of the agenda.
Okay, appreciate it. Reed?
The only thing outside the agenda was I gave Whipfly our draft of our financial statements yesterday, so they'll be combing through them and probably give me some notes on it, but we should be wrapping up relatively soon.
Good, and everything went real smooth?
Yep. No issues. I took over writing the report this year instead of them. So it was we're probably a little further in the timeline than maybe in the previous years, but like by a week or two.
So for the folks listening at home, which maybe is one person with a broken leg, that sounds, if you're not understanding how audits work and how that typically works, is that out of the ordinary for most jurisdictions?
For counties and local government our size or in that ballpark, it would be very uncommon for the county itself to prepare its own financial statements. It would usually be the auditors that would do that. They charge a fee for that. That is not, when we talk about the audit, that is not what they're really engaged to do. It's actually a different service. They call it a non-attest service for preparing the financial statements. If you're going to go back to your accounting textbook kind of stuff, technically the organization, someone inside of the organization is supposed to be able to put the financial statements together. That's how it has to work for like large SEC companies. If they didn't have someone on staff to put the financial statements together, they'd get a material weakness for not having the expertise. There's carve-outs for smaller private businesses and government entities that it would be uncommon for them to have that expertise. So the accounting regulators allow them to prepare the financial statements for their clients. But yeah, technically we're supposed to be the one giving them a draft and they audit what we give them.
Right.
But I just want to make everybody understand, out of the 102 counties here in Illinois, less than 10% probably do that. In other words, as he said, government entities don't have the expertise to do that. So we are very lucky to have Reed here on staff who has done that in the past and knows how to do it.
Yep.
and was able to do it and can save us some money through not having to pay Whipley to do it. So
Right.
just want to make sure everybody understands that's a fantastic opportunity here.
Yep. Appreciate that and appreciate the update. Thank you. Dean, good. Sheriff, wait a minute. Now, I can't help. It must not be every day that you have somebody who's completely blind that runs around town and gets the city vehicles involved and county vehicles involved and ends up in Woosong, and you got to run them off the road. And then
they
he's
have-
from Minnesota, you know. Yeah, was it close to my grain setup or where was that?
Past it.
That what,
Right
past
at the
it?
curb there at Woosong. But then they had the audacity to call 911 saying the police are following. them.
That was the best punchline of the whole thing. That was, oh man,
That was-
crazy.
That's one of those ones you put in your memory bank.
So is he a guest or was he released?
Cite and
or-
release.
He is, so he released. So he
Cite
didn't,
release.
all of that silliness didn't rise to the level of becoming a,
Detention. No,
yeah.
not after the Safety Act. No.
You know, and that's really the reason why I want to bring that up. To me, that's absolutely incredible. Here you had a person who
Endangering the public,
Absolutely.
right?
had the public in danger, took a tremendous amount of resources to get him corralled.
Mhm.
And then we turn around and we release him on his own recognizance. I mean, it is insanity.
Yep.
It really is.
I totally
So,
agree.
Clay,
Anyway.
has he had a hearing yet that he's missed or?
No, I believe it's coming up the 19th.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
we'll see if he appears.
Yeah. Have to buy 4 tires.
And I don't want to belabor, Nancy reminded me, she's got a meeting at 10 o'clock, but, so he doesn't show up. So what then?
So then I believe Charlie can correct me if I'm wrong. The protocol is now that they will send him a reminder of a new notice to appear. And then if he fails to appear at the second date, then they can issue a warrant for his arrest. But basically, he's got to be sent a reminder first prior to a warrant. I guess everybody's
And then he's,
busy
and then
nowadays. You
by
know, they
that
just can't
time,
keep track of their court
he's
dates.
back in Minnesota and we have to, now do
we
the
pay
states
to
have
extradite.
reciprocal agreements as far as, Minnesota can then arrest him?
They have to go through their process of extradition. They can arrest him on a warrant, but then we have to pay to actually bring him back here. Yep. Now, if he doesn't show up.
Again,
we
for the
get
folks at home, we're talking, this is insane that this guy was let loose. Thank you, Springfield.
Exactly.
Anyway, well, appreciate it. It was an interesting
Clay,
report. It was
thanks for what
good
you
read.
guys do.
Yeah.
Appreciate what you
Oh,
put
no.
up with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for your
It was
support.
just crazy. So, Mike, Keen, Nance, Stace. All right, Amy.
Good morning.
Good morning. You always have a report. Everybody
Briefly.
else says no, and I
It's-
get to Amy, and Amy's got something.
I'm just
I'm
going to make this
excited.
brief. So I just wanted to bring you up to date on the court technology grant. I called the AOIC last week and to inquire where we are because it's been quite a while. They informed me they are in the review stages, the final review stages, and we hope to hear by the end of this week.
Oh, great.
So with that said, once I hear, I'll let the board know, I'll let the team know. We'll get with Tyler. We'll try to figure out a project start date.
Right.
It's looking, since we're in March, it could be May, it could be June, it could be July. So that's where we're at. As soon as I find out, I'll
All
let
right, I'll
everyone
have my
know.
fingers and toes. Yep.
Same here. So that's all I've
All
got.
right. I'm sure it'll be fine. So,
Hope so.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I've got.
thanks for the update.
Thank you.
All righty. We got the minutes. Everybody have a chance to take a look at the minutes. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, entertain motion to approve the minutes. Moved by Bivens, second by Naylor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. And we've got the treasurer's monthly financial report. Read. Oh,
I'm going to be bringing up a sheet for you guys because this is quarterly.
All right. So from a high level revenues expenses, we are essentially on target with our budget. As long as we're kind of factoring out property taxes at the moment, because those are going to come in towards the later of the year. And from an expense side of things, the large liability insurance payment that we make during the beginning of the year. We're basically right at where we should be from an expense side of things. I guess one thing to note, if you're looking at our cash balances, we're a little lower than previous years in our general fund. It's more of a timing issue of, we made a bond payment, which we pay out of general fund, but there's a transfer from public safety tax to pay for that. We just haven't made the transfer in February, where we paid the bond payment in February. The other item I wanted to point out, I've been in contact with some people down in Springfield, and they were able to give me a little better answer on what caused the use tax to be so low in January. So they had reclassified a major retailer from, paying use tax to paying sales tax, which there's not that much of a difference between what classifies as one as the other. But what gets distributed to us between the two is very different. So first, the adjustment that was made was basically for the entire state's fiscal year. So from July 1st through January, they basically corrected all of those months in that 1 month. So that's why it was so low in that 1 month. The difference then between the way our sales tax is and our use tax is sales tax, obviously, it happened here in Lee County. There was some sort of sale that classified and that we got some of that revenue. Whereas the use tax was looked at from a statewide level and then distributed to the counties based off of population. So it's not going to be a one-to-one. We saw this in use tax. Now we're going to see it somewhere else because of the way that that's calculated. But from our numbers, we can see that our sales tax numbers are up since that adjustment. It's just not exactly the same. So they're trending a little higher. So it does seem plausible. The amount that our use tax is down in the months down in the months after that adjustment is basically, you multiply that difference by 5 or 6 months or whatever, and that gets you to that big adjustment that they made down in January. So any questions on that?
Did you tell the guy that's clear as mud when you were done even for,
Yeah.
it really, that gets so confusing and how that works.
I tried to scour the definition of what use tax is, and I haven't found, look at the definition for the sales tax and the use tax, and I can't tell the difference of, it's basically the same definition twice, but one is classified as sales and one is classified as use.
It makes you wonder.
I don't know.
If it's sales tax, why not roll them together instead of
Yeah,
having a separate
it would make
thing,
more
except,
sense. Yep.
To kind of be a little opaque in how things are.
Yeah.
And of course, we are talking about state government, so once again. So anyway, well, thank you for that update. Now we just got to figure out what happened to PPRT.
Yes, that one is, this is a month where we would not receive PPRT money. But yes, it is definitely down, which we planned for, but it is very down compared to the previous years. It's probably like a third of what it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Get another quarter in and see if because I think we were pretty conservative, so we should weren't we pretty conservative in PPRT?
No,
We use guidance?
Yeah, we use guidance from the state. So a year ago, it was down, they had told us it'd be down 25%. It was down 30% last year. And then a year, when we were doing the budget for this fiscal year, they told us we'd be down another 30 to 35%, and we're actually down 50% at the quarter level that we're at right now. We're trending about 50% lower even than last year. So, cumulative over the last 2 years, we're going to be down somewhere, 60, 70%. But the documentation from the state talks about, oh, we're making a readjustment in PPRT because they had calculated it incorrectly from prior years, but your state income tax should show an increase because those two are kind of the offsetting of each other. Only problem is, well, I'm not seeing any difference really in my state income tax value that we get. So we'll be watching it, and again, we'll make sure we try to find an answer. But at least we did get, as he said, a plausible answer on the use tax. And the sheet I had handed out, last month does kind of go over the difference between, hey, sales taxes, while 5% goes to the state, and then 1% goes to the municipality, and 25% of the 6.25 goes to the county. And then use tax, like you said, is more of a, let's just lump all of this together into a state bucket. And then as you read that, right off the top, 20% goes to Chicago, 10% goes to a regional transportation, 3 million goes to Build Illinois Fund. Then what is ever remaining gets distributed by population of each county, or area. So those are one of those things where it's kind of a hidden, it's just a bucket of money. It's going to be difficult to really nail down.
Yep. Well, thanks for you guys' effort in tracking that stuff down, and we appreciate it because that's, that helps us in the end. A little bit more better understanding helps us as we come into budget cycle. So anyway, any questions for fellows? All right. The only thing, and maybe this, you addressed this, Reed, the only thing that stuck out to me was just on expenditures. County general, we're at 61%. So we're tracking a little bit heavy on county general.
That's the liability insurance payment that we made, what was it?
It's like
650,000.
650,000.
And that's what made that
December.
pop.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's the only thing that I saw that stuck out to me. Yep. So,
If you back that one out, everything else is right at the 75%.
right.
So.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. All right, let's see. We do have to have a motion to approve the quarterly report. So moved by Naylor, seconded by Kitson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. All right. We have insurance company. Nancy, do you have anything for us?
Nothing today, Mr. Chair. The insurance company this year is going to meet on an as-needed basis. We found we were having unnecessary meetings when we did quarterlies. And I know that Sarah meets monthly, but she's not here today, so I have nothing to report. Thank
Okay.
you.
Very good. And we don't have, Jeremy, anything for Gredco? Okay. Administrative report.
Quickly, we are looking at restructuring the zoning department due to just the workload that has been continuing to increase in that department. We previously had a deputy zoning administrator as another headcount in there. Laura did leave us to go work down in New Mexico, and it's a fantastic adventure for her. But through that process, we realized that there may be a need, or is actually a need, to have a zoning admin focused on zoning, land management, floodplain management, ZBA, those types of things. And as we continue to change what the needs of the county, look at having a building official or a building admin instead of a deputy zoning admin that could essentially spread out the workload between the two departments, which would still be under one department, for a more efficient operation and more of a balanced workload. That might affect the department budget by maybe $10,000, which I think we will still be fine within our current budget that we've created for this fiscal. So I just kind of wanted to give the finance committee an update there that we're, from the admin side of the operations, we're looking at some changes there, and that should be coming out pretty soon.
Okay.
Any questions? Perfect. Thanks.
That it? Okay. Okay. We do not have an ARPA report. No Joseph E. Meyer resolutions. Anything further in your report, Clay, that you wanted to head on? Okay. All right. Unfortunate about the murder, but I'm glad that he got taken care of. So,
Thank Charlie for getting a successful resolution.
yeah. Okay, we have no unfinished business, new business, and we do have on with us, Mr. Mudge. Good morning, sir. How are you this morning? Mike, yeah, Mike, you have to unmute.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, okay, there we hear you. All right. This is, and I had Charlie ready and if you were able to look on your resource. We've done this since 2013, where the county voters authorized us to do electrical aggregation. So periodically, usually every 2 years or so, we have Mike come in and let us know what the bids are for our electrical aggregation rates, and not good news this year, Mike.
Oh, no, the market's in a turmoil. We've been trying to find some solutions. Actually, it started last year and we went with a 1-year contract with MC Squared. And, yeah, that, unfortunately, we should have probably went longer because the electrical rates are going to go way up. What I want to do is, if we can, look at the bid sheet. As I understand it, everyone's got a bid sheet on your laptops there.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think you have to go back to resource folder. And you scroll down to electrical aggregation, and it's the March 2025 update. And then, now which one, Mike, is it? Because we've got two here. We've got an original Lee County renewal and then the revised. We want to look at the revised.
Yes, and I'll explain that. So
Okay.
if everyone's there, and I can share a screen also if you want to bring it up on the screen, the big screen. Oh.
Yeah, Mike, if you'd like to share your screen, we can do that. We're trying to get it loaded up, but it's not working at the moment.
Okay, let me see if I can do that. Now let's see. I got to. I've got way too many things open here. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. I'm sorry.
You are sharing your screen now, though. Just a heads up.
All right. Well, I've got it up. I'm a little more technically challenged challenged here. Jeremy, is there a way you can bring that up on your screen?
Yep, we're gonna pull it up real quick and just give us 1 second, Mike.
All right. So. I want to say, I'm so impressed with the county and this, the technology part where you guys are from when I first started coming around in 2013. You guys are wired in and, I can remember everything was a paper shuffle in the past.
So do
then-
we.
But it's pretty awesome, and it was nice just to go in. And Becky showed me exactly where to go yesterday to click into this.
Yep.
But I'll just briefly tell you what's going on in the market, and I'll explain capacity while we're waiting for that visual to come up. In last July, PGM, the people that operate the grid, for ComEd, as well as 13 states going out to the Atlantic Ocean, called PGM, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Jersey. They have their auction, and what this is all the people who have generation bid into this auction, and there's costs. ComEd collects the money for their utility and sends it off to the people that bid in on this auction. Like Byron Station, actually the units there in Lee County, the 2 gas-fired units that you guys have, and so on and so forth, bid into this. It had gotten delayed. They used to bid 3 years out, a third for 3 years out, a third for 2 years out, a third for the next year. So suppliers knew what their capacity costs were. And what capacity actually is once ComEd deregulated, they no longer were responsible to have generation. And capacity was given or paid to the people that bid in on the auction to maintain their existing plants, as well as encourage them to build new production. Well, in today's world, we did a lot of conservation in the last 10 years, but that conservation is all used up. That's what kept dropping our rates lower and lower as time went by. Excess capacity, excess generation. And we had some of the cheapest rates in the country. However, today, if you have an EV car, that takes the place of like 2 homes. So it don't take too many EV cars to start adding up on the grid. But the big monster in the room is the generators for them, the data centers. And close to home, I'm not sure if you follow Ogle County very much, but they rezoned land all around Byron Station for commercial industrial use. One of the things is they expect, as time goes by, a data center being built right next to the plant. So we are really into a supply and demand mode. Now, once we bring this sheet up, or if you can find.
You're ready to go, Mike. We have it up.
Oh, okay, great. I'm gonna look at my sheet. If you look at the bar chart at the bottom of the sheet, that's the results of the elections back 10, 12 years. This last one came in 800% higher than the one that we had for June 24 to June 25, the planning year. And it kind of blew everyone away. Out in Washington and one other area in South Carolina, North Carolina, those went up even higher yet. We're at $287 per megawatt per day. What that is that's adding 3 cents onto the kilowatt hour rate. And it kicks in June. It goes from June to June. So the ComEd rate itself is going to jump 2.5, 3 cents. So when we want to be transparent, we want to put in the current ComEd rate, which you see in the chart is 6.612 cents. Our rate with the current MC squared, is 7.45. That was a good rate. We didn't do wrong last year. But here's the dilemma. I don't want to, we take a lot of calls for the county. Becky will forward difficult customers to us and we explain what their options are. They still get the choice. And last year it was a matter of having a rate that they could compare to see if ComEd's got a better rate or not, and they can still make their choice. So the revised sheet that I prepared for you for today, our option is this. We could take MC Square again, their lowest bidder at 9 I'll look at my sheet, 9.49 cents. Or the 22 months at 9.79. But I'm really uncomfortable with having a rate that's higher than ComEd. And we've always been saving customers money. And we're way ahead on this since we started. We're on house money. But doesn't really matter when you look backwards. It's what are you doing for me today? We have on MC squared on the revised sheet a price match guarantee. And I want to just take a minute to explain what that is. I've got a 4-page PowerPoint presentation that I sent to Jeremy, and we can share that with a full board next week. Whiteside County had their meeting Tuesday, and they decided to go with this MC squared price match guarantee. So that's another option that we have. The third option is we can just have MC squared drop all the people that's in the program and drop them back to ComEd. So why would we do the MC squared price match guarantee, and how does that work? Everyone would get the ComEd rate each month. That's in the program. People in the program could opt out of that and say, no, I just assume if I'm going to be on ComEd, I can go on the ComEd rate. The second thing is there's a grant that's attached to that, and MC Square would give the county a grant payable each month on that. So you can pick up some revenue. And why would they want to do that? One, we keep the program going. We still have something there for the ratepayers. They still have a choice. The third thing that they can do is they can pick a supplier on their own. But we usually help people get back on a program or get back to ComEd a lot because it's too expensive for the suppliers to go out and sell residences and that on a one-on-one basis. So I couldn't tell you what that grant would be. Probably in maybe $10,000, maybe to $20,000 annually for the county. And we could try this for 1 year. My thought on this is there's a lot of turmoil, a lot of churn out there because the data centers and EV vehicles, electric vehicles, they're actually using power faster than what the new power is coming online. And if I've got the MC squared, let me try and if I take about 2 or 3 extra minutes, I can see if I can share this PowerPoint presentation that I've got. And
Mike, we have the PowerPoint presentation we could put up here real quick.
Okay, great.
So while Jeremy is bringing that up, question I've got, Mike, is that ComEd rate doesn't, when I was reading through the materials, did I get it right that ComEd rate is probably going to, that 2.5 cent is going to hit that ComEd rate by June. So they'll pop that ComEd rate up to over 9. Is that, did I read that correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So the choice is to take that 9.9 rate for 12 months, and the ComEd rate's gonna be either above it or below it here. What ComEd's doing is they're not purchasing all their power. They're floating about half of it. And that's why right now, with the float, they're a little bit below us, and they have been for since last September.
Well,
Wow.
and before we get into and I guess my question would be Dynergy giving a 9.8 rate fixed for 3 years in the times of uncertainty. 3 years, that would be a flat rate. That almost looks attractive.
Yes, what they're doing though is they're assessing the risk. That you're right. That 3-year rate could be prudent. We may slide backwards a little bit this first next 12 months. One of
Okay.
the things,
Go ahead. Mike, we got Bob Bolson's got a question for you as well.
Well, I don't know if it's a question or it's a comment. So you're reading it, I think you're reading that wrong, Jim. That Dynegy rate, I can put my glasses on. That's for 1 year, that 9.98. If you want the 3-year rate, it's 10.17.
No, that's the 100% renewable green power.
Oh, okay, so if I go over, you're right. So I do get my glasses on. So if you do go the 3-year rate, you're 9.8, you're correct.
that could be a very, very prudent rate. One of the things in June, we're supposed to have another auction for fiscal year 2026 to 2027. That was supposed to have happened in December, but it got delayed because Governor of Pennsylvania and other political people have gotten involved. Because just of the impact, the electrical costs are done with everyone. So yes, I kind of overlooked that because we're getting like commercial industrial customers are going shorter. Everybody's pulling their horns back in, but apologize for not looking at that as an option also. If that capacity auction drops down, then then we are going to be higher. But again, we have something that people can look at and make their choice to stay. They have that option. Are we ready to go with the MC squared thing, Jeremy?
Yep, Bob's got another follow-up.
Well, I just got a couple questions. What do you say if the county let the residents go back to ComEd and we watch this at a monthly basis and we see a break in the rates, then we can still go out for bids at some point. We're not tied to this time frame, are we?
No. The only thing is, by law, we have to send people back to ComEd. We can't hold them on a rollover a month by month. So MC Square would have to drop everyone on the program back to ComEd. That is another option. We're not tied in. So it's you guys are right on this. I want to make that as a compliment.
So I appreciate the offer of the grant, but I have a hard time taking a $10,000 grant or $20,000 grant when the residents' rates are going up. I think we let it go back to ComEd and we watch this and see what happens. So that's just my opinion. So.
Well, what MC Squared does is they look at, I'll explain why they're able to give a grant out and why they would keep the same rate as ComEd. Some customers that have good load factors. And the thing with energy is it's not how much power you use, it's when you use it. So, and this is why we've been able to get good rates in that, because we use a lot of power in the fall, of course, because of grain operations and so on and so forth. We don't hit the power hard in the summertime when, you know, people open up their windows, and we're not like Chicago where you gotta run your air conditioners to survive. So it's when power is being used. That's what's always given us an advantage to save money over ComEd. But we're just upside down right now. So we got to figure out what to do for at least the next 12 months while the market, that auction happens in June, if it's not delayed again, and so on and so forth. Like I said, we used to have that auction go out 3 years, and we always had like a 3-year contract because the suppliers knew what this regulated cost would cost them. And we're looking at a very short time period. So if we look at the we got the MC squared thing up right now, Jeremy, or
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well,
Yes, it's up.
Reason why I asked questions.
okay.
Okay, Mike, we've got your PowerPoint up and we're on the page of the MC squared, the company overview.
Okay, I gotta bring mine up. So, okay, well, the first page, the second page talks about MC squared. You guys are already familiar with them. That page 3 just talks about all the different communities and that's on the program, and this is a short list, but it shows you that other entities have gone to this. I want to get to page 4. The things I mentioned, the third point, residents can be served by them or opt out and select a private provider at their own discretion, or and that there's a civic grant. This is why slide 5 is really why things are out of whack. And they got in here, ComEd rate tariff expected to increase over 2 cents a kilowatt hour. They're being very conservative on that. The increased demand and the challenges to demonstrate value to the residents, those are really the main points, the crux of this. But so this is really what we're hanging our hat on, is how much more power, how much more growth is there going to be on the grid? Are they going to get caught up on these capacity charges? Things like that, where they get these auctions out their way so that we know exactly what the costs are going to be, and as compared to the utility rate. So that's all I really wanted to say on this. Now I'll explain why would MC squared do this. They would look at every customer on there, and the ones that they can make some margin on, they would actually place them in the market. They would make some money there. That's where the grant money comes from, and you have that. The main thing though is if ComEd's going up or ComEd's going down, we're matching it. So, any questions on this, and then we can just get off. We can get off of this a little bit.
Yeah, Bob, go ahead.
It's not a question, just a comment. Just my opinion, it's a 27% increase. I'd hate to try to lock that in for the residents. I think we let it go back to ComEd and let the residents see if they can find a cheaper rate. We've only got 3 bids, basically. I would have thought we had more. I understand. I'm nothing against Mr. Mudge and his organization. It's just we got 3 bids, and I hate to, lock somebody in for 27% increase and let them see if they can find something cheaper out there until things settle down. And it might not settle down with all these new things coming online, but if PJM would open up and let some of these windmills and stuff, wind farms come on the grid, that would probably help.
It would.
Yeah.
One thing that has helped with these new capacity rates is example, like in Ohio and Pennsylvania, there were some natural gas fired plants that were scheduled to be taken offline because they didn't want to invest money into them. You know, they got to refurbish motors and valves and pumps and different things, just like the two plants in Lee County. Now, those two plants are benefiting from the higher capacity rate.
No, this is just information.
Oh, pardon me?
I'm sorry, Mike. I had a sidebar question about whether we were going to vote on this. Just so you know, we're not going to vote on this in the finance committee. This is just discussion.
Right.
You know, then we'll probably have a recommendation come out of executive committee for the full board. So are you going to be around available in case when we go to executive committee that if there was a question that we could give you a quick call? Or get you back online?
I can,
That would be between, executive meets between 11 and 12.
okay. I can click back on, and come right back up like I am, on your committee, so.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. It may not, that's up to Bob, but I thought, you know, if a question came out of executive, then it'd be great to have you available. So,
Okay.
okay.
I wanted to give you guys as much background as I could to let you know where we're at. And like I said, it's kind of a port in the storm if we do the MC squared price match program, and there's some more renewables than that also, but that's immaterial. So,
Right. Well, thank you for giving us the background, Mike. Appreciate you being on and providing the PowerPoint and all the background, and appreciate the work that you do to help us weave our way through the complexities of electrical aggregation. So
the bottom line is we almost need to have, in my mind, and talking with all the different, we deal with about 120 governmental agencies. The big thing last year was we wanted to make sure we had a price to compare,
right.
so the residents could make their choices. So that's I think that's an important consideration. So thank you very much for your time, and Jeremy, thank you for helping out with the technology. I'm going to play with that and find out. Normally when I do other Zooms, I can click right on there and I can share on the big screen. So,
All right. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your time.
Next thing on the agenda is opioid funding, and Jeremy, Charlie, who's leading that?
Yeah, I'll take it. So we have, obviously the opioid settlement that we're working with. I think to date we have roughly $160,000-$80,000 that has come in. We've had a couple presentations and opportunities to use some of these funds on the table for the better part of 2 years. One is with Sinisippi. Sinisippi is continuing to look into the development of another recovery home in the area. That'd be more of a long-term commitment. You may recall their presentation a handful of months back. And then we had Natalie Andrews come in and do a presentation as well for the Partnership for a Healthy Lee County. That is a small ask. The full ask is, I think, a little over $26,000. $26,462. That is for instructor training, some supplies, working with some marketing campaigns, as well as some recovery campaigns. The other piece of that is there is some funding to send 2 individuals to anti-stigma training, which is going to be in April. Our focus group committee has met multiple times over the last couple of years, and we had realized that this program with PHLC was ready to roll. And we have funds sitting in balance. In working with Judge Ackert, Charlie Boonstra, myself, and Chairman Olson, we had discussed and thought that this would be a program that we would like to invest into. It's a one-time ask from them. They understand that. And then we're going to focus on Sinisippi moving forward. So we're bringing it to Finance Committee to get that approval to move to exec and move forward to expend those funds.
Okay. Entertain a motion to move, to approve the expenditure for the opioid and move that to executive. Moved by Kitson, seconded by Naylor. Any discussion? Any questions in this regard? Okay. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. I did have a note from Jeremy to add the fingerprint scanner. How are we handling the fingerprint scanner? And Amy, do you want?
She probably isn't, she wasn't really in on the conversation. So, I mean, you guys, you might be able to talk about it a little bit or the sheriff can. But this is a need that the courts have as they're processing folks for their system. The individuals have to go get their fingerprints done prior to their court date, and a lot of them aren't getting that done, and we do not have the ability to scan them in our court system, and it's a need. As I think there's, I don't remember the exact number, but we're struggling to keep up across the street due to this. So Judge asked for us to purchase a roughly $7,490 fingerprint scanner with a couple equipment add-ons. It'd be about $14,000 in total. We know that this is a need for them, and we're trying to support that decision and figure out how we're going to pay for these funds. I know that the request from finance was to look at a couple restricted funds like the public defender and some other things. I did work with the judge on that, and the funds, those would not be an allowable expense out of some of those funds. So we assumed we'd take that out of our capital balance and move forward because we know it's a need for across the street.
So just for the committee's information, did all the information go out to the committee?
It is on in your resource folder, I do believe. Becky, did you put that in there? No, it's okay. But I don't believe everything came
Okay.
out. I know you wanted it on agenda to talk.
And I can see. So this would become out of I'm struggling trying to think of how the process we have to do.
Hey,
Since
Jim.
we didn't get this on
I would suggest we use some of the ARPA funds that we had input into that.
The reallocation to capital.
Correct.
that's not my issue. My
Okay.
issue is we didn't get this on the agenda. This would
yeah.
be considered an action item.
Well, I don't know if it needs to necessarily be on the agenda as an action item for her for us to use those funds because we already have them allocated.
Well, typically for the ARPA funds, we usually had finance approve the expenditure before it was done so that they were approving the spending of ARPA value. You could put this on next week's full board as a action item to vote on at that time instead of using finance, just use the full board.
Yeah, I just have a hard problem because that would be for finance committee to make the recommendation.
Yeah, and we could put it to next month as well. I mean, it is on it's on our new business agenda here. I mean, you could make the recommendation to executive could put it on.
No, it's not on. It's not on our agenda. If I was on agenda, I wouldn't.
Oh,
raise the
it's
issue.
on mine.
It's not on mine.
Okay. Anyway.
That's
That's
the
fine.
problem. That's the problem, Jeremy.
Okay. Oh, the fingerprint. Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, yep, not a problem.
Are we in a time crunch?
No, I mean, we
Just
could,
wait until
we could
next
move it to
month?
next month and that's not an issue. I just want to make sure that we have a funding source ready to go for them. I mean,
Okay.
if you want to discuss
Charlie?
that, I mean, Charlie, can we?
Yeah, I can dive into it a little bit more of where the issue is. I mean, it's not necessarily a time-sensitive thing because we've been doing this for several months as it is now, actually
This is
over a year with the issues with the Pretrial Fairness Act and Safety Act. So what is happening is that with the cite and release under the Pretrial Fairness Act, these folks are not being processed. And then when they come to court, we have to enter an order to have them processed. And then they, as most of them are going to do, say, I just don't feel like doing that, and then don't do it. So with having that machine at the courthouse, they don't have any other option than to just go outside, get processed, have all that done. And if we don't have the processing completed, then all of our reporting obligations, everything that shows up in our leads reports, everything will be missing that information and it could be misreported.
So so help me understand, and Charlie, Clay, when someone's arrested, because they're immediately fingerprinted at that point, no?
Not
Not with
anymore.
the Safety Act and the cite and release provisions.
So
So this is another
it's
issue with the Safety Act.
So the
the guy-
example would be the person that you guys just let go on a site release did not
Get
have
fingerprinted.
any of that done.
And the judge, when they're at their appearance, will order them to report to the sheriff's office to get fingerprinted so their criminal history information can get updated accordingly. They fail to do so. So essentially, what's probably going to come down is there's going to be a lot of contempt warrants issued for people that fail to adhere to the judge's order.
Yeah, Tom.
I'm gonna be optimistic. Is there any chance for any revenue from this process? Like, you didn't do it, we can charge you $5 to do it at the courthouse. I mean, I
Only
realize
if it's
it
that
benefits
contempt like
us.
he's
Well,
talking about. yeah.
and you're not off base either, Tom, because part of the cost on this is just not the equipment. There's a $2,500 a year service
Maintenance.
contract,
Yeah.
maintenance contract.
I mean, obviously, it's gonna save a lot of money in the process. Whether it's a manufacturing process, a people process, it keeps things flowing, it makes it work. So obviously, it's worth it to do it. I just didn't know if there was any chance to.
I would defer to Charlie whether the judge can institute a fine for their failure to adhere to the order.
And
Generally,
certainly,
if you
the
did that-
contempt powers the judge, they'd be able to, but I don't want to speak for the judges and say that that's something they have an
Okay.
appetite for.
I just, just a thought. Because if you did that for a month, I bet the word gets around pretty quick. Most people will be getting it done, but. And in all fairness, I mean, Judge Ackert is wonderful to work with for us, and she's very helpful, and having been on the board long enough to have seen some of the other judges have done things in the past. I appreciate what she does for us, and she could just buy this and tell us to pay for it, but she's not, so. I appreciate what she's doing to work with us.
I think it would be innovative to assess a further fine on them for failure to do so.
I can see Springfield saying, no, you can't do that, but it just.
They've got a lot of discretion as far as contempt citations, so.
Yeah.
So Jim, I mean, the finance committee can still make a recommendation. Exec could still put this on the agenda for full board.
Why don't we do, that's the way I handle it. But the part, I'm not sure if the committee saw what I saw.
Sure.
And so to ask them to vote on something that they weren't able to see.
And you don't have to vote on it. I mean, exec
So-
could put it on as long as you want to move it to, or make a recommendation for exec to do so.
So by consensus, is it all right that we allow the executive committee to make the recommendation to full board? Any objection to that?
Nope.
Okay,
Do it.
all right. So, okay. All right. I don't have anything else on the agenda. Jeremy, is there anything else good for the cause? All right.
Actually, yeah, there is. Susan Gillespie is our new hire for Human Resources. She came in yesterday to meet all the department heads at our department head meeting. We're really excited about that, and she'll be starting on the 31st. So if you haven't had a chance, walk into the old conference room there. That's now a much smaller conference room because we built an office in there, and it looks great. So thanks,
Awesome.
kudos to the maintenance team for doing that. It was all in-house.
Sounds good. Welcome. Looking forward to meeting her.
Jim, there's only two of us left. You want to make the motion or you want me to second it?
Yes. Move to adjourn. Moved by Bivens, seconded by Kitson. All those in favor signify by saying